I am currently the only one in this building because this video is going to be unlike my previous ones. And I have an important announcement to make that this building that I'm in is actually a house that my wife and I purchased about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, which is good news. Yay! Woo! I guess I really just want to share with you guys, you know, how I got here, because it does feel like it's been a journey. It was a lot of things that kind of happened at once, and even though I say a lot of things, it's probably just, you know, 3 or 4 things that just feels like 20. I feel like everyone probably says that, you know, when they're getting their first place, like, oh, you know, it's stressful and blah, blah, blah. And even though that sounds like something that everyone says, I feel like it is still unique, I hope. So currently, I'm in this house that my wife and I got. We are in St. Pete, Florida, and I moved from Northern Virginia. So with that, let's start the first part of this story. We'll do it like story time. So let's say this is chapter 1, okay? Chapter 1, we'll just start with Nova. For those of you who are not familiar, Nova is just what we call Northern Virginia. So I grew up about 30 miles south of DC. By the way, I've never confirmed that. I have no idea if it's actually 30 miles. I just say that and hope that people don't say,
wait, really? Is it actually 30? Is that accurate?
Also, being that far to DC means that the area and the general borders are expensive. It feels like what you would pay, the $300,000 that you would spend to get like a small home or a town home in Northern Virginia, you could get a small mansion for in the Midwest or even, I don't know, Georgia, like going down south. That's what it feels like. So the whole point, the whole goal, you know, how like getting down here to Florida is that I wanted to own, you know, real estate. I wanted to start this journey of owning properties, you know, being a dirty landlord. You know, people hate landlords and, you know, parasites, whatever. Yeah, I want to own property. I thought, you know, I should start the journey somewhere that I've been before, somewhere that I'm comfortable. But unfortunately, a lot of the cities that I've worked in are also very expensive to live in. So my selection kind of dwindled down to, okay, well, Richmond, Virginia, right in the heart of the state, or down in Florida. That kind of takes us to our next chapter, you know, what was going on when I was working in Richmond. Richmond, I've been told, you know, while I was working there, is great if you like art, great if you like music, great if you like historic charm and a lot of rich history, and also food. And I love food. Fun story, actually, when I was in Richmond, I went to a Topgolf, and that was paid for by the company. It was like a holiday thing, maybe it was Christmas or something. My first time at Topgolf, and I'm very friendly. I'm like, hey, yeah, you know, so am I holding it right? And the employees are big, and I was like, yeah, just, you know, go. Your posture's fine. Go for it. And I swing, and the golf club releases just majestically from my hand. Like I couldn't have planned it any better. It's just like the perfect release from my hand, and it dings a hole in the wall, and they're like, bruh. Oh man, like one of the managers that had hosted the thing that got me there just gave me like such this, like he was killing me, like in his imagination. Like I could feel him like plunging daggers and stuff in. Too graphic, but yeah, I think he was very upset. Back on track. I know that I might not work in Richmond, you know, for a long time, and my contract could end. I could get shipped somewhere else, you know, wherever. But I'm so eager to get started in real estate and buying a property that I get a realtor. Like I'm working with the realtor. I'm going and I'm visiting homes. We're doing showings, and even if my contract were to end and I were to get shipped out somewhere that's not Richmond, I'll just stay in Richmond and I'll get a new job. Like I'm gonna do this thing. I was actually furloughed. Parent company said, hey, well, you know, the client that we sent you to in Richmond, you know, they let you go. We understand that, but we're having a hard time finding new clients for you in general. So because of COVID and because no clients are really hiring, if you find a job wherever, you know, you're free to go. Like, contract's over, done. And while COVID has had a great impact for a lot of people, at least in this sense, that was a blessing because it allowed me to leave Richmond basically. And that's kind of where the next chapter of the story begins. You know, where do I want to start looking for jobs? So chapter job hunt. LinkedIn, I even got a friend of mine to help me with my resume. Every day I would try to apply to 3 or 5 jobs, which is not an incredible amount. So just about every single day, I would apply to 3, 4, maybe 5 jobs. And I basically exhausted all the ones that I could find. ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, Indeed, on actual company sites. This is what I did for weeks in Florida. And no one got back. Not really, nothing really substantial. And I got to the point where, okay, well, I wanted to settle down and get my first place in Florida, more affordable, right? But it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. So I started telling people, hey, I applied to Florida. If they get back to me, they get back to me. But I have to move on with my life, so I'm gonna apply to Northern Virginia. Even though it's expensive, I'll just have to suck it up. Save, work, save, and then move somewhere more affordable. So that's what I was telling people. That's just, but let's be honest, DC is gonna hire me before Florida. Like, what IT jobs are happening in Florida right now? All the IT jobs are in DC, Fairfax. And I really believed that. That's what was gonna happen. I was just gonna wait until someone in DC said, hey, want to interview you? And then we'll interview you. So you know how I said whoever gets back to me first, that's the job I'm gonna take? A job in Springfield, Virginia, so about 30 minutes north of where I lived, reached out, said we want to interview you. And then a job in St. Petersburg, Florida reached out and said, hey, we want to interview you. And I thought, it felt like the same day, 2 companies were like, hey, we want to interview you. And yeah, I took it. I took that blessing. I interviewed both. You know, let's do this. You know, I don't think the Florida job's even gonna pan out. Honestly, Springfield, here I come. that's what I believed. And it ended up being that they both ended up making offers. But the whole point of this story, as you guys know, is I needed to be somewhere more affordable. I mean, of course, I went with St. Pete, and I was very fortunate. I feel super blessed to have even been given that. And with that, let's do a little montage and introduce the St. Pete chapter, when I actually drove down 14 hours to St. Pete with the wife and I in a car, all of our stuff stuffed in the trunk and in the back, and just road trip down the East Coast. So chapter 5, 6, whatever it is, chapter St. Pete. Boom. Now, when we drove down, like, I had a plan. The plan was Airbnb. We were gonna stay in temporary housing because I did not want to get stuck in a 7-month lease. I did not want to have an apartment tied to my name for over half a year. In my mind, friends and family close to me are gonna laugh. Within a month and a half, I was gonna go visit all these places, totally kill it at the job. I was gonna drive out, inspect all these neighborhoods, all these homes, pick one, make an offer, and then within 30 days of the offer, close. Because nothing was gonna happen. It was just gonna work out perfectly. We were just gonna make the offer, do our inspections, get in, get out, boom, done. B&B for a month and a half, and I've moved in. You guys probably watched my last video, and when I said, oh, here's the plan, it didn't work. What do you think happened here too in Florida? This is my plan. Did it work? No. Of course it didn't work. And that's why this video that I'm making exists. If it was just smooth, like roses and daisies, I would have put something on Snapchat, like, hey, here, I did it. No, it was way more than that. I felt very, very blessed and very fortunate to be down here, like have been given this opportunity. I was in beautiful city. We're in St. Petersburg, Florida. Beaches are 15 minutes that way. Downtown is 15 minutes that way. I'm basically within 15 minutes of the most touristy areas of this peninsula, you know, of the Tampa Bay area. Very fortunate, and none of this is to brag. Actually, this chapter is a little sad. It was almost too many fortunate things at once. I felt undeserving. You know, I feel like I really need to earn this. Like I have to keep this. Like this is like almost a dream come true. And I'm starting, like, the doubt is creeping in. And I start having these nightmares that I'm gonna get fired, that the dream is gone. Like, the job is basically allowing me to be here. I hate this cliche, this phrase of, you know, if it's too good to be true, it's, you know, it's probably not. Like, I hate hearing,
you know, if it's too good to be true.
But I felt it. Like, I really felt it in my heart that it was almost too good to be true what I had here. It began stressing me out. I began to get really snippy. My patience started to go thin. And it made it kind of hard to want to search for properties and to be, you know, really, but in the end, really fortunate to be here. So, you know, enjoy the blessings when they're there. And sorry, I thought something flew on me. Anyway, yeah, just appreciate the blessings and no need to look for the negative, I guess. And I was so excited. I found this duplex. So it was this one property, this one plot of land with 2 buildings, a main unit and like a smaller unit, separated by a backyard. So they had their own bedrooms, their own kitchens, their own bathrooms, and like their own small yards, and their own carports where you could park your car. The photos looked fine enough. I knew that I was like the smaller unit was probably going to need some updating for sure. So without even entering the property, I was so excited. The listing agent, the person selling the property, like said he had the other unit as a B&B, and he gave the numbers for what the B&B was earning. And I thought, it's a done deal. With that, like for what he's renting that other unit for now would almost pay for like the majority of the expenses of this place. It would pay for the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, which is already a good chunk. And then after I would leave the main unit, then the rental income from the main unit would pay for everything else. It was gonna work out. I was so excited. Time was running out in the B&B, so we just make the offer, and it's accepted. Oh, this was a legal duplex, as in like it's recognized by the state as a duplex. So I make the offer, talking to my lender, we're gonna do the conventional route. So we're gonna do a conventional loan. The home was going to be sold for about $230,000. $6,900 was gonna be my down payment for this place. We are so encouraged to go into debt in this country. Different topic for a different video, but if you know, you know. So they're gonna let me purchase this property for $6,900, just as a down payment. There's other closing costs associated with that. My realtor's pretty good. She negotiated that the seller would pay all closing costs. So it worked out. So really, my only out-of-pocket was gonna be this down payment. Pretty sweet. And oh guys, I'm talking to my lender and I remembered this is a duplex, and I said, hey, you know, I don't know if I told you, this property is a duplex. I hope that doesn't really matter, does it? And there's a reason I'm making this video. Because she gets back to me and she says, Hernan. Yes, of course that matters. I'm gonna get back to you with the numbers. I'm gonna do the best I can. I guarantee you're not gonna be putting down 3%. And I said, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back to work now. You get back to me. 15% they wanted down. So when I was prepared to put down $6,900 for this home, my lender got back to me that same afternoon and said, no, you're gonna need like $30,000 to close on this property. Did I have 30K for the house? No. I believe that we should always have some kind of nest egg, some kind of emergency fund. And the only way that I was gonna cough up 30 grand is if I ate up my entire emergency fund. And that's just not the way I wanna do things. This is not an emergency. This is a mistake that I made. I should have made this very clear before making the offer and having it be accepted. So I'm not gonna use emergency money for this. We reached out to family, and family was gonna be able to make up the difference of what I needed to close on this property. They would be able to. And that's what we were gonna do. That we were gonna move forward. Incredibly fortunate. I know there's a lot of people that conversation might not even come into the picture, like, hey, you know, but it doesn't stop there. Do you recall when I said I didn't actually set foot in this duplex? So We have the inspection done for this place. It is my first time setting foot after the inspector has done his job. And my wife just bad vibes. The inspector walks with my wife and I. First thing he says is,
Roofs are bad. Roofs have got to go.
so the roofs were bad, the AC was bad or something, and then also there was one water pipe that was like literally from the sink going to the outside, like in the garden. It's just odd, weird things. Gave my wife bad vibes, and we mostly her, but we decided together ultimately that we were just not gonna move forward. It just seemed like biting off more than we could chew. That was something I felt like we couldn't afford, so we didn't go through with it. So things are getting stressful. We were basically banking on this B&B to work, this duplex to work out, so we could, move out of the B&B into the home. And now we have to get a new B&B. We have to extend. It's been a month and a half. So my whole plan of into a home, all within 90 days, that didn't pan out. You could find a nice duplex for like $500K here in St. Pete. I just didn't want to pay that. If you can't find a duplex, Hernan, then you're basically gonna have to buy a single family. You're not gonna get to this house hacking thing you want. Because the idea was, I'll buy a duplex. I'll live in one side of the property and then rent out the other one. So I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking at single families. Lo and behold, a listing that says, hey, this one has an in-law suite, like a guest suite, not a duplex. There's like a door joining the two. Like you can enter one unit from the other, but they have their own kitchens, their own bathrooms, and their own bedrooms, and their own entrances. And the listing literally says, it's got a guest suite. You can rent it like a duplex, not a duplex. And my heart was set, because I hadn't seen any other duplexes that were coming up. And I see this diamond in the rough. Would need some updating for sure, but we'll go see it this time. We'll do the walkthrough this time, but this is gonna be it. And we made an offer. Whoa, where am I? So this is me from the future. I'm actually editing. I think I actually lost some footage. So I'm just gonna really concise give you guys the breakdown of what happened here. So we had made the offer. We are scheduling the inspection, and the seller is already saying that they are gonna replace the roof. So that's already like a part of the negotiation. So we said, okay, that's fine, whatever. We do the inspection, and the AC is also super old, and then we negotiate that they are going to also fix the AC. So two bigger ticket items, yay, cool. And there is this thing that my lender is supposed to send me called the closing disclosure. And for those that aren't familiar, it's basically just a breakdown of everything it takes to buy a home. So a lot of people know about the down payment. That's just one part of what it takes. There's a down payment, there's closing fees, insurance, property taxes, the list goes on. And the closing disclosure shows you basically itemized every single thing that you are gonna pay in a very nice receipt, basically. And I'm supposed to get this because apparently, I don't know about the other states, but here in Florida, there's this requirement that when you get this closing disclosure from your lender, there is a 3-day mandatory waiting period before you can close. And remember that roof and AC I was talking about? The seller, after she sells us the home, she was basically going to take the proceeds, the sale, pay off the roofer, and then pay off the AC contractor. So from selling the home, she was going to use that money to pay these contractors, pay for this work to be done. Which basically means that she needs us to be on time. She's dependent on us, because if we don't buy the home, she can't pay these guys. So why did I bring up the closing disclosure? As fortune would have it, the lender was hella backed up. So many things on their schedule, whatever. It took them a while to get that disclosure to us. We actually had to extend closing by a week, which is apparently 1,000 years in real estate time. And even then, after the week extension, we had to extend it even further. The seller was so fed up, so tired of us extending and having excuses, unfortunately, that they actually threatened to put this house back on the market. So it was a stressful time. Eventually, the lender got this closing disclosure to me, and then we had to wait 3 business days. What made this even more stressful was that not only were they gonna pay the roof, pay the AC, they also were gonna use the sale to purchase their new home. Like, you know, funny how that works out, you know? And on top of all this, I'm still in a B&B. Remember in the previous duplex we were dealing with, we already had to extend the B&B. So now for a second time we are, and I'm at work too, working the whole time. So it was not a fun time. But eventually we did close. We got everything done. The roof has been replaced, the AC has been replaced, and we're finally in this new house that you see here. But I'm gonna hand it back to me from the past because that footage is still good. And I don't wanna really show anything right now. This is a fresh coat of paint, so we'll hop on back to the past real quick. And now we're here. Now we're here. So I know this is a lot different than my previous two videos, but I do like to talk. And I wanted to give the update of what's been going on and, you know, where I'm gonna be living for the foreseeable future. Friends and family, I do miss you guys. You know, it's one thing to close on a property, you know, having wanted it for so long to begin this journey, but it's another thing to just close on a property and have friends and family there to celebrate. Of course, not really wanting to expose myself to too many people anyway, you know, given COVID. But had things been different, certainly I would have wanted people to be here and celebrate. But it's okay. At least in this house, we're healthy. We closed. A lot of updates to come. So many exciting things for the future, at least when it comes to this house. Just all very exciting. Well, where that leaves us now is that you guys can expect a video coming soon. I'm going to give you guys a little home tour, show you guys what the place actually looks like. So that video is coming soon, and until then, how do you end a video?